world has changed. America has changed. If something were to happen tomorrow, how self-sufficient would you be? Could you grow your own food? Could you sustain your own livestock? Could you survive? This is the We Grow Our Show with Nick and Don. Nick and Don talk about everything from politics to planting. They cover techniques, methods, and tips on how to not only survive, but thrive. Visit the website at WeGrowOurs.com. Lock and load. This is the We Grow Our Show. Get your grow on.
Back to you live from the Situation Room. Excited to be here. It's the We Grow Our Show. Sorry, Don just said I need to be more excited. He took a call and he came back in. I'm taking a nap in the Situation Room.
He starts the show. It's the We Grow Our Show.
It's the We Grow
A little
Our
more
Show.
excitement.
A little awesome.
You just made
on
everybody
here.
listening yawn. That's a good way to start the show. You know, yawning is contagious.
Oh my gosh.
No, we've got an awesome guest. This guy knows his stuff about gas.
That's right. No, a man after my own heart. The dude's into biofuels, and that's the wave of the future. You know, we make it, it's easy to pump that oil out of the ground and run stuff on it, but gasification and other biofuels like it are what will run this planet.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually done a full episode before on gasification, and Nick and I have talked about what it is. I find it fascinating. I don't know a whole lot about it. Nick's actually pretty good at it. I don't want him to get too inflated, too much. But,
that's my head inflating.
I was doing some looking around and found Mike with Tactical Wood Gas, who's going to be our guest today. And if you get a chance, check out his products because they're affordable.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make any money off of this stuff.
No, this is us genuinely being excited over it. It's not he's not paying us to be on the show. I'm excited. And
well, I've sat there with Nick working on a dang gasifier and it ain't easy to get these things running. It's not easy to get them designed. There's a ton of work that goes into it. Mm-hmm. And everything I've ever looked at has been a little expensive for my pocketbook, and I think for most people's.
Yeah. That unit, by the way, if you were to buy everything in the stores, the unit that was on Doomsday Preppers.
That wasn't on Doomsday Preppers. Oh, it wasn't on
Doomsday Preppers. Oh, okay. Well,
after 8 hours of filming it was not on.
It's on hostlehair.com /fun.
Yes, right? Under fun. You can see the videos, some of the videos of it running. We'll try and do another video of it soon too.
Well, I think next video might be with this guy's.
Yeah, really.
But that whole system, all of the parts that went into it, cost me, probably just under $600 for everything.
Oh, I bet more than that.
No. I'm not talking about the generator too.
Oh, okay.
The generator was another $400, and it was a crappy, cheapo one that I got from a discount.
Right.
But so $600 there, and then another $400 into the generator, and it never worked.
Yeah.
We still haven't put it together to work it. I mean, we were producing gas, but it wasn't viable. Like, we couldn't get it cool enough. We couldn't get the compression right. I think the generator was having some issues.
I think it was more a generator issue because we had the fuel coming out.
Yeah, we had this nice yellowish fog coming out.
And you could light it on fire, and it was pretty cool. So that part I think we managed to finally get. But when you try to convert gas like that to run on a typical generator, there's some other things that need to happen and that we just couldn't get done with the parts we had available. So, but we spent hours and hours and hours on that. You spent $600 at least on those parts, plus the generator.
So $1,000 in that, and I think for like $1,800.
Yeah, I don't know if that includes the generator, or we'll have to ask them.
It was $800 for the for the generator.
Yeah.
And then it was $1,000 for the gas generating device.
Yeah, so
I think that's what it says on the site, but we'll double check with them.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes. WeGrowOurs.com /episode 31. Woohoo! Woohoo! So, and obviously, if you've been listening, that comes out on Mondays at 6 p.m. on our Facebook page. If you're on Twitter or if you're a friend of mine and maybe a friend of Nick's personally, you probably get a little earlier than that. So you can always tongue-tied. You can
Awesome.
friend request us. Go to facebook.com/WeGrowOurs. Check that out. Send us a voicemail. Email us for your feedback, any questions you have. We got a lot of feedback on our episode 30 about oils.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have some new listeners out there, and welcome. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a little different than oils, but check back off. And if you don't like this and you're not into gasification, we do all sorts of stuff. Everything from politics to prepping.
Planting.
Lock and load. All right.
Okay. Before we get Mike on, I got to tell you a little story about my friend selling his house.
Uh-oh.
My friend, has tarantulas, frogs, and snakes. He's kind of a creepy guy. That's why we get along so well. So he's selling his house and he's not home, but his realtor's showing it off. And this lady and her husband and her son come to the house. The son's about 25 or so. And, the realtor goes to shake her hand. And the lady does not shake his hand right away. She waves her hand over top of his head and then shakes his hand. And so the realtor's like, okay, can I ask what that was? She's like, oh, I was just relieving the bad energy. And he's like, oh, moving on. And, so they go on this little tour of the house, and my friend has about a 9-foot carpet python in one corner of the house. And
a little bitty snake.
Just a little bitty guy. And she didn't see him, but her son did and said, oh, cool, look at the snake, right as she's walking next to it. And it's hard to do this without hand gestures, but she kind of flails her hands up in the air and goes, oh, and backs into another room where he has about a 3-foot rattler. And it's like head level on top of a bookshelf. And so she backed up to the bookshelf and hears right next to her face and turns around, and she's eye to eye with the most deadly snake in Arizona. Screams and flails and falls and grabs onto the blinds and takes the blinds down and passes out on his futon. So the realtor, her husband and her son had to carry her out of the downstairs and up into the living room, where she proceeded to go and cower in the corner for the rest of the tour.
I take it she didn't buy the house.
No, she said it was possessed and haunted and all this stuff. I'm not one to poke fun at beliefs on a regular basis, but
that's just a funny story.
It is. I don't know what religion teaches you that snakes are evil.
Oh, it's a serpent, right?
Yeah, but snakes are not evil. God made
totally
everything.
Agree.
I don't know.
All right. Without further ado,
let's leave the religion at the door. No, it's just, it is a funny story. I wish I could have been there. That's one of those that.
A fly on the wall.
Oh yeah, a fly on the wall that's out of range of the flailing lady. Oh gosh. Watch, the son's going to be one of our listeners and be like, oh, I was there.
Yep. That's Nick at hostlehair.com.
Screw you, Don. All right. On that note, let's get our guest on here.
Sounds good.
Things just got real. The drugstore is closed and the doctor is unavailable. What are you going to do? Stock your medicine cabinet and bug-out bag with Nature's Alternative Essential Oils. Visit mylavenderlife.com for all your essential oil needs.
All right, welcome back to the We Grow Our show. We've got a very gassy guest. No, just kidding. We got Mike with Tactical Wood Gas. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing great. It's interesting up here in the Northwest. We've got wildfires and we've got tornadoes, and we're actually fabricating our systems probably one day a week at least on wood gas powered battery banks, just because the power just keeps going out here over and over and over again.
Holy cow. See, I thought that was kind of a calm part of the United States up there in the Northwest, but you guys have all kinds of action going on. Good reasons to prep, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, wildfires are a normal thing for us. But winds that blow down metal power lines are not. So everyone's wondering what the heck is going on with the weather.
Yeah, it sounds pretty spooky. We've got microbursts down here in Arizona, and they'll knock stuff out for a while, but we're kind of used to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got the gasifiers going, 1-2 days a week.
So are you actually powering like your whole house or your business off the gasifiers?
No, what we do is we power what we need. We've got a battery bank for the shop, where we work, and that runs all the tools and everything, and that's 4 GC2 golf cart batteries with a 2 kilowatt inverter. And then we also have for the house coverage, and this is about a 7-acre homestead. 3 freezers with meat that we process, and 2 refrigerators that we, in 105 degree heat, you've just got to keep those things cold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thousands of dollars of meat go away. So that's kind of what, we didn't get into this because we thought, hey, here's a cool business model. We got into it because we had a problem to solve, and we couldn't find what we were looking for, and scaled for us and priced for us. So we decided to make our own.
Hey, that's a real fix-it attitude right there. So what was it that triggered your need for a gasification device? I mean, where did the inspiration come from for tactical wood gas? Right.
So it was a progression, one little piece at a time. The first part of it was that my brother-in-law Kelly and I would slaughter 1 or 2 head steer and 3-4 hogs. And these multiple deep chest freezers is where we'd keep them through the year. And we were both at the time working, too far away from our home. And so we thought, well, what do our wives do? Do we get them a generator that you got to pull on, that you kind of got to know a little bit about the carburetor to kind of troubleshoot it? So we initially actually started with a battery bank. So we bought these big golf cart batteries, chained them all together, stuck an inverter on the top, and said, "Hey, honey, when the power goes out, unplug the freezers from the wall, plug them in here, and flip this little lightweight switch, and you're good for 3 weeks." And we were really happy with that. And then you think about that, and it's like, well, that's cool. And you're like, well, that'll give us time to get home if it's a bigger emergency. But what happens if it's longer than 3 weeks? And so we looked at the commercial generators, and most of the ones you find, if you read the manual that comes with it, they're only good for I think 100 hours of operation, which is not very much.
No, that's
a
little better
so
than
we looked
3
at that,
days.
So we said, let's design ourselves a 12-volt DC generator that just uses a simple gas carbureted engine and an alternator from a car. And it puts out the regulated 13.8, and it'd be awesome. And especially if you use a smaller gas engine, it'll last, the fuel, it'll sip the fuel.
Yep.
And so we did that. We stored some gas, and we thought, okay, we're good. And then we thought, well, there's longer problems than that. Or what if we need that gasoline for the vehicles? Mm-hmm. And so then we said, well, we need wood gas. And so we, basically went out to buy something, and there's a few $25,000 solutions out there, and of course that was way beyond our budget.
Oh man, that's pocket change. 25 grand, you got that in your back pocket, don't you? Everybody does.
Well, we were worried about losing $5,000 worth of meat, so we want to spend less than that to insure it.
Yeah.
So we went out and got some plans, and we looked at it and said, wow, these things are scaled for driving V8s. And so we looked at it and basically shrunk it and compressed it and, beat it to death to get it down to a system that we could physically lift up and sit on a table or put wherever we want, that is a easy to use thing. And so that's where we're at now is we, started out with batteries, ended up with generators, and then we're driving the generators with wood gas.
That's awesome. That's actually, I kind of ran the gambit of alternative fuels and energy and whatnot. You started with goofy things like the different thermal motors and the stuff that all the YouTube videos are on that that you think is going to be great, and the electrolysis, splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, all of these things. And then finally, I thought that I had discovered a new fuel when I was heating up wood for another application. I was actually heating up straw. I was making gunpowder, but I thought, man, I could harness the fumes coming off of this. And this was about 5 years ago. I was going to school, and I put this whole thing together for harvesting the fuel. And I thought that I had something great. I thought that I had invented something. And I went into the college professor and said, look at what I came up with. He's like, oh yeah, that's a gasifier. I'm like, it's a what? He's like, yeah, that's a gasifier. They were doing that in the 1930s when there was a gas shortage. I about fell on the floor and threw a tantrum. I thought I had invented something awesome.
Yeah, you invented it, but you just weren't the first person to invent it.
Yeah, that was sad. But
yeah, actually, it goes back to about 1880. It's what was available to start the Industrial Revolution. And then we, shortly after that discovered that we could pump oil in the ground for a lot less work and a lot higher energy density, and that just kind of shelved gasification after that.
So I've got a question. When you compare like gasification and steam engines, is gasification going to get you further than the same amount of wood would in a steam engine?
I'm just not a steam engine expert. So a couple of things kept me in the direction of gasification versus steam. One is the complexity of the system. I would need to be a machinist rather than a sheet metal fabricator to make a prototype. And the other thing is gasification doesn't have scalding water under pressure that can explode.
Good point.
Right?
Oh, I'm sold.
Yeah, I looked at it and said, it used to be a profession. You were a steam operator, and that was your full-time job, is to keep all the pressures right, all the valves right, you did not fall asleep on the job if you were a steam plant operator. So, I figured was a bit too much for me. And I wanted something, plus, I figured when I was done with it, I couldn't lift it up and stick it in the back of the truck.
Right.
If I needed to, if you say, hey, you guys, you got to relocate, there's a wildfire coming that is going to just get everyone. I need my backup power with me. And this is by hand. You can load it in the back of the truck easy.
Interesting. Now that's one of the selling points I tell people. Back in Wisconsin, they've already adopted corn burners and wood pellet stoves and things of that sort. And what I tell them is, okay, yes, you have a source of heat, but if you used a gasifier, you could use the cooling apparatus on the gasifier to heat your house and then have fuel on top of it. So have you tried integrating anything where you're harvesting the heat from the gasification process?
No, and the way I explain this is you're looking at two opposite ends of the spectrum of how you burn wood or fuel. If you're burning it for heat, you ideally you're burning it along the lines of a rocket stove, where you're getting it so hot, or especially like a rocket mass heater. You're burning it so hot and so efficiently, you're burning even the smoke you're burning.
Yes.
And you're basically extracting everything out, and there's your emissions are, a little bit of carbon dioxide and water vapor. At the opposite end of the spectrum is wood gas, where you're basically starving the thing of oxygen, keeping the flame to a small, basically to the very bottom of the pile of wood, and you're cooking the wood above it and releasing those gases for use in the engine. So, you would if you tried to get halfway in between those two, you'd get something that was useless in both ends. So, what we have is to heat the farm and to heat the shop where we fabricate. We use rocket mass heaters, which is, in crazy cold weather, I think we'll get down to -10, -15. The only heat that we have is, we'll go through like that kind of a winter with like a cord and a half of wood.
Wow.
And so that's the best thing for that technology. And then for creating electricity, you need to burn with basically where you're consuming all the oxygen and you're extracting gases to use on your engines.
Gotcha.
So a big thing for us, we're not as dry as you guys are down there. We're up here in Spokane, Washington, right next to the Idaho Panhandle.
Okay.
Irrigating crops is a big deal. So, there's a store, even Harbor Freight, if you have those down there,
Yep.
they have this little, 6.5 horse, water pump. So if you've got, big crops, if your garden is, several acres, where you're doing it, commercially, you need to get the water out there. Otherwise your crop is gone. And so, you can apply gasification to that and run your well pump with an inverter off of some battery bank that you charge up, because they make inverters at 220 and they make all kinds of voltages on the output of inverters. And then once you've got the water up from the well, then you can use this pump to just distribute it out to the fields and keep the crops going.
Very cool. And I mean, you've got a lot of wood up there. There's a lot of timberland, so you've got the fuel you need.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at the website, and your system, like you said, looks like it's a small engine, looking like it's driving an automobile alternator and charging up a battery bank. Did I sum that up correct? Okay.
That's it.
How big is that engine?
Oh, we've got two options. One's a 3 horse and one's a 6.5 horse.
Okay.
And so it, if you're running the small gasifier and you've got a 2 or a 4 battery bank, that'll burn the minimum amount of gas. Wood rather. It'll save you a little bit of money on the cost of the unit, and a certain amount of weight as well. And then with the bigger unit, that comes with the 6.5 horse, and that's, if you want to do, basically if you've got a bigger power needs, then you're going to want to be able to run it for longer periods of time. So the small unit's got a hopper that's about a gallon. The big unit has like a 3.5 gallon hopper. So you get a lot longer run time without having to interfere with the operation.
But on both of those, you're still running the 13-volt alternator.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The way we looked at it is, it's the least efficient way to create electricity is to spin a AC head. Now, if you already have a AC generator, it's fine, it'll work with that. But we looked at it and said, what do we optimize on first? And kind of the hybrid car technology is what we modeled this after, where what you're doing is you're running the engine at its most efficient. You're extracting all the energy out of it, putting it into a battery bank, and then your inverter just powers everything you need off of that. And that allows you to run it for a while, and especially if you've got OPSEC. If you're in a tactical environment where you're worried about noise and advertising that you're one of the few people with power, you're gonna run it for a short time, charge up your batteries, and then use your batteries during this more sensitive times.
Now, one of the things that it looks like you can do, and you were talking about a water pump, there's no reason you could change out that alternator and put a water pump on there, couldn't you? And run a well or irrigate your fields at the same time just by a simple change of that alternator.
Yeah, you could take that alternator off and you could get a longer belt, and then the frame for this generator has mounting holes to where you could bolt it down to like on a 2x12. And then if you've got anything else that's belt driven that you want to run off the thing, you bolt that down on that same 2x12 and run the belt to it and spin it. So if it's
it's like a diesel takeoff.
What's that?
It's like on the diesel truck. I had the transmission takeoff, and you could spin anything you wanted to it, whether it be a snowblower or anything else. So I mean, this thing,
3.5 horse engines can have some trouble with a snowblower, but
but a little one you actually could probably do. But you're just spinning anything you want at that point. So
yeah, we actually one of the designs I came up with was basically an alternator next to a water pump, and they would clutch back and forth. So when there was draw on the power, it would produce power, and when there was no need for electricity, it would pump water. And the idea was that it would pump water from a holding tank downhill to a holding tank uphill. And even though that's not efficient use of energy, it would be like a mechanical earth battery, if you will. And then you could harvest hydroelectric power coming off of the upper hill, the upper tank.
Aquaponics.
And yeah, and have your aquaponics and everything else run off of it.
Well, this is really cool, Mike. Now, I mean, you guys, you mentioned right at the beginning, you scaled back and you own a business. I mean, Tactical Wood Gas is your business. So can you get into some of the details on maybe pricing, anything like that? Would you mind?
Sure. Yeah. We were, when we looked out there and, multiple tens of thousands of dollars, we looked at it and said, can we do something at or below $1,000 for a full system? And when I say full system, I mean, gasifier, cooler to extract the tar from the gas, and a filter to extract particles. So we call it the big and the small dragon. We named the small dragon because we stuck a fan on that thing and we were getting like 18-inch flames out of the thing. It's just unbelievable what that little guy will do. We actually have run 6.5 horse motors off that, the small one.
Wow.
But it'll use up your fuel faster than you would want just because it's got a 1 gallon fuel tank on there, or fuel hopper rather. So it's $1,000 will get you the big dragon with the cooler, and it's a water jacketed cooler, so you add water to the thing. And for your part of the country, we've added a hose fitting. So that if you've got 105 degree weather like we had up here we're doing some testing during this crazy time. It works best. You can run it for as long as you want, really, if it's 80 degrees or below. But above that, you need to hook a hose and refresh the cooling of the water, because after it comes out of the reactor, it gets to about 300 degrees. You need to knock that down to room temperature. And what that does is it takes all the dirty gas out. It takes all the tar out. Takes it up to the filter, gets all the particles, and then it burns just like propane. But that whole system, including the plumbing and the tar trap and fittings and everything, is $1,000. And then we've got $800 for the generator that is mated to that is designed for it.
So $1,800 out the door, you've got infinite power.
Yep.
Wow. So here's
as long as you got infinite fuel, and we do up here.
Oh yeah.
So here's a question. You said that your exit temperature of the gas generator itself is 300 degrees?
Yeah. Yeah,
Really?
It took a while to get it that low, actually.
Yeah, because I was playing around 600 to 700 at my best.
Okay, that's where we started. We started out with 600 to 700 degree gas coming out. We've got one of those thermometers. You kind of point at it and pull the trigger, and it
the infrareds
tells you what the temperature is. Yeah, the infrareds. There we go. But we tried some of those pewter EMT electrical conduit connectors, and we were melting those things.
Yeah.
So we looked at it and we
red.
said, okay, yeah. In fact, we have gotten the thing glowing red, but not since we've made design changes. So there's ways that we thermally insulated the reaction area from the surface of the cans. And so now the surface of the cans are actually taking the hot gas and shedding the gas out rather than conducting the flame heat out. And you want your flame heat up high.
Yeah.
So you want the flame to be, probably 1,800 to 2,400 degrees for good paralysis. But too much of that was conducting out through into the walls of the can. So we did some insulation work that can handle that and solve that problem. And after that, now we can use high temperature RTVs and things like that to seal it, where before just basically everything burned. It's getting it to this point put like a $15,000 hole in my wallet. It was a lot of development to get this thing to where it works the way that it does now.
let me just put an advisement out there to all the listeners. If he's got a device, if this man has a device for under $1,800, buy it. Because I'm telling you, you will run out of swear words building your own.
And trying to just start the generator.
And starting a generator that was meant to run on liquid fuel was ridiculous. It was at 6 hours we tried and it already, Anyways, I am very impressed at what you've come up with. Now, I have to ask, is there a throat size difference from the small dragon to the large dragon, like right at your hearth?
The throat size, as far as where the gas passes through the paralysis section, or okay, there's a whole pattern for each of them that is optimized for the horsepower of engine that we're targeting. So,
okay.
What we wanted to do is with a smaller unit, make it so that, with a little 2.5, 3 horse, engine on there, that it was just optimized for that. And if you drag it all the way up to, 6.5 horse, it'll run, but you'll be pushing, the limits of the thing. And with less than optimal fuel, you may not get as much power as you want. You still charge batteries and run and turn things, but, above 5 horse, we recommend the Big Dragon. And, the whole pattern and the flow rate, the output, that's an 1.5 inch, air passage, system. And it's 3/4 inch, about 3/4 inch, on the Little Dragon. So, your restriction is, smaller on the big unit because we wanted to make that run up to about a 20 horsepower, which you can have fun with, ATVs, at that kind of horsepower.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm calling my wife after we're done here and I'm going to say, honey, we're saving up for a couple of months. I need one. I'm sold.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask again. I told you a little bit off the air that my original reason for getting into rabbits was to pelletize unorganized biomass because I thought that I could do this, pretty efficiently. Your systems are designed for wood, but what other things could you run in them?
Oh, you can run, dried animal dung. You can run, most of the stuff is busted up particle board furniture, which is wood products. What we ask is that you keep the chunks of wood or dung, from pellet stove fuel is a minimum up to about golf ball size. So chunky wood like that.
Okay.
You ran into some problems with just using dried, rabbit pellet, right?
My problem was I was breaking up. They were breaking up, and I had a powder in there instead of an actual pellet because I was too rough. I was too rough delivering the fuel.
Okay.
So there was fines in there, and it was kind of blocking the path, and then it would smolder, and it wouldn't quite. I couldn't get a good ignition, and so throwing in the 1 inch cubes to the 2 inch cubes of cut off garbage wood worked in it.
Can you use some kind of cuber to put the rabbit, make a cube out of it for this thing? Dry it out afterward?
Would it be safe to say that the denser the material, the better?
Yeah. I would, pine will, produce more ash and you'll be filling it more often. Oak, for example, would, run a long time on a hopper.
Okay.
And part of, if you, like for us with cattle, a really dry cow pie is pretty big, and so you can just by hand break it into, 6 or 8 chunks and toss it in there. And it holds together pretty well. Llama is about as small as, as I would go with, just spreading it out the pellets to dry in the sun and then using them. Getting them powdered is a challenge. Now, one thing is, you need an air bypass to get, oxygen down into the paralysis area if you're using some of these more, basically the smaller pieces of fuel. and we provide that. And so that might have been something that would make your life a little bit easier. But still, if it's powdering, that's a difficult thing to overcome.
So one of the things that my kids have done is they make paper bricks, kind of as a school thing, where they're taking all the scrap paper and shredded paper and creating bricks out of them to go in a wood burning stove. I'm assuming we could use those as well.
Yeah, denser the better. If they're all fluffy, you're going to go through them pretty quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
no, these are hard bricks.
Oh, okay.
Very cool, Nick.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that would work just fine.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about the breather tube. The initial I'd used it to start it went right into the hourglass portion. Right,
Mm-hmm.
I had it neck down to what was it, 1.5 inches, somewhere around there, and then it was inside of a 6-inch pipe. But anyway, enough on that. What was I going to ask? Oh, your clean out for your ash, is that something that's worked into the filtration system, or do you have to get in there and manually remove your fly ash?
Okay, so you're familiar with 55-gallon drums that have the removable lids with the big band that goes around it?
Yes.
The lever lock lid?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the bottom of the reactor is a lever lock lid.
Shut
so
up.
you
Awesome.
you just basically unlock that lever, the whole bottom comes out, you can just spray it out, and you're done.
I love it. I'm so excited. I wish I had a picture right here in front of me. A little kid in the candy shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we designed this for ourselves under circumstances where maintenance is an issue, that you're going to use it for a long time, and you want to be able to get to everything. So there's nothing that you cannot get to. If you break something and you need to repair it, you can get to everything on the system.
See, that's awesome. See, you're appealing to my fat, lazy guy side, and that's a big side of me. So,
so one of the byproducts of the thing is it's kind of like a crude oil. In the cooling stage, when the gas hits the metal walls and transfers the heat into the water, that collects the gasified tars, turns them back into liquid. They drain downhill and into a glass jar. And that is, to us, we look at it and say, that's crude oil. There's a guy on the internet, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he basically he can re-crack this stuff where he puts it in a metal jar and he puts a rocket stove under it, re-vaporizes it. And instead of like we're doing where we're condensing it all in one stage, he condenses it in like 10 stages. So your first stage still looks like crude oil. Your second stage looks like thick motor oil, and indeed is an oil, wood oil. And then you get a lighter oil like a cutting oil for machining.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, it works its way lighter and lighter to where you get basically wood alcohol at the end.
Oh, wow.
And so this stuff is useful. Down the road, I'd love to productize something like that. But I would need to learn a little bit more about chemistry and get some test kits and do some tests and say, hey, this is wood oil and it's the right viscosity, but if I use it as a replacement for the oil in my generator engine, is it going to have the life of all these fancy modern chemicals? Valvoline and all those guys create. I'd say probably not, which means, instead of, 10 to 15 hours between oil changes, you may go 2 hours.
Well, that's one thing I noticed is that tar, when it cools, there's nothing lubricating about it. You're sticking to it.
Yeah. In fact, we're working on how to troubleshoot your engine video. And one of the things I do in that one is I reach over and I say, hey, in addition, there's ways to test that you have spark, but the easiest thing, especially for non-mechanical people, is you go down and you get this. Basically it fits in between your spark plug and the spark plug wire, and it has a little light bulb in there. And then as you pull the cord, if you see it flash there, you get sparks. So it's a real fast troubleshooting thing. But the other thing is I say, hey, if you pull it like this, and I slowly pull it, and it doesn't do that, easy, hard, as you're compressing the cylinder and then releasing it, then your tar, you've got the thing too hot, you got some tar in there. Right. So we say, okay, basically you unscrew the fitting where the gas and the air comes into the carburetor, unscrew that, basically get a carburetor cleaner, squirt it in here, and then spin the engine. And for us, what we've done, because we're basically, I came over my brother-in-law Kelly. His hands were all blistered and bloody from pulling on the cord when we were very first figuring out how to get these engines running.
Electric drill, my friend. Electric drill.
That was the solution. So he had that, and so we saw this shaft on the motor has threads in it. So we Loctited a bolt in there, and suddenly our life was easy.
Yep.
But if you got a stuck valve because of tar, and we actually did this at a customer demo. We were running it too hot on purpose, and we said, okay, now let's troubleshoot the thing. We just took that off. We spun the engine while spraying a carburetor cleaner in there. It re-liquefied all of that tar and actually fired off and ran off of carburetor cleaner.
Yeah.
For a little while. Then we said, here you go, and then we just put gas in there, and then one pull start, not even a drill, and the engine was started again. So that was a live thing right in front of customers.
Well, hey, Mike, I really appreciate all the time you've given us. So if people want to learn more about your products, what's your website?
Okay, so it's www.tacticalwoodgas.com. We've got an 800 number, 800-51. Gosh, now I'm embarrassed.
I don't know if gosh is on the touch tone phones, but I will look.
Yeah, let me. If you can, I'm not on a computer right now. If you can look at it real quick. But
well, we'll get it in. We'll get it in the show notes for you for sure. So
okay, great, and it's on the website. We've got that on the website.
Okay.
And then we've got a Facebook page. And we put a lot of updates on that. I mean, we've got pictures of when the tornado hit of electrical towers pushed over. We've got houses crushed and all. And then also we've got pictures of us, on, what does a crate look like? Because when we ship these things, we just can't afford to have them show up busted. So we freight them. And this is a fully encased, in a crate. So it'll arrive freight, when you buy the full system.
Gotcha. Well, we'll get your information on the website, and I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. And then our it's sales at Tactical Wood Gas and Mike at Tactical Wood Gas.
Perfect.
Both of those will get straight to it.
What will you do when your stored supplies run out? Are you prepared? Hostile Hair provides equipment and education you need to control your own infinite food supply. We have live food storage systems, rabbits, quail, and other urban livestock for any situation and strategy. Don't be limited by what's on the shelves. Get started with an infinite food source today. Get prepped, stay fed with Hostile Hair. Call 480-331-3761 or visit hostilehair.com.
What a great interview. I'm like giddy right now.
You're ready to go buy a gasifier.
Heck yes, I am. I just sent a text to my bank to see how much money I've got in the account.
You are lucky your wife does not listen to this show.
I know, right?
She will kill you.
We all want supportive wives, but at the same time, it's like, I get I get away with a lot when she's not paying attention, so.
That's funny. Yeah, I think, Mike, you might have a new customer there.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I think, these would go over great at the Prepper Fests.
Oh, definitely. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I kind of want to become a retailer for them.
Yeah.
Just because I love doing that stuff. It's fire. Anytime that you can get paid to play with fire, do it.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these things run. I'm going to link out, obviously, to his page and all that on the show notes. So check that out. So what else we got going?
I don't know. My life's kind of mellowed out a little bit after all the excitement
and all that.
Yeah, it's been good. I didn't, we talked about it last go around. Didn't get the exposure I was looking for.
Yeah.
As far as, to, pushing people to the website and all of that stuff. But, if nothing else, it motivated me to get some stuff done that I've been putting off for a long time. So the website looks a lot better. I have, CMIT to thank for that and the donated hours of Mr. Don Cupper.
Well, it's been fun.
Yeah. I think Don's grown some gray hairs due to that site build.
Oh, that's from a lot more than just the site build, but we'll leave all that alone. So yeah, and Nick obviously is a show sponsor of ours. So it's, hostlehair.com along with our other show sponsors, EcoPod Gardens, Aquaponics. That would be Don's business. That's me. And we've got My Lavender Life, which is essential oils, episode 30. We had Angie on, and we've got Butt Out e-cigs. And if you guys are still smoking, go butt out. Go put the butt out. I don't know. Stop, for God's sakes. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I like that phrase. If I could do it, anybody could do it. It's like, wow, that's really selling yourself. Way to hit it on the confidence nail there.
Don't quit, just stop. You're not a quitter.
You're not a quitter.
You're not a quitter. Go visit Butt Out.
Yep.
3 locations in Arizona on the website. Go to our WeGrowOurs.com. Right there on the right-hand side, you can find them. Guys, we want your feedback. We want your show ideas.
Yes.
We want all of that great stuff. We try to answer that as much as we can. We will be doing some more shows. We've gotten some feedback that we want some more shows on, kind of, again, going back to that basic prepping, basic integration, where to start. So we're going to try and cover maybe a couple more, do full shows on rabbits, maybe a show on aquaponics coming up. So keep it coming. Whatever you guys want to hear is what we want to give you. WeGrowOurs.com/ask-us, Facebook.com/WeGrowOurs, YouTube.com. Search on us because I don't know our page, and Twitter.com/WeGrowOurs.
You gotta write these things down.
I think we don't have enough people on there yet to get our own custom. So I'll wait till
it's like a bunch of
numbers and stuff.
Okay.
But if you go, you can search, and I've got a couple episodes posted.
Sweet.
Not a whole lot. I think I don't know if I have a picture or a video of the gasifier on YouTube.
Yeah.
But you can find all that on our website under, actually that's on our website under the blog. I think it's on your website. It's hostlehair.com/fun.
Yeah. /fun.
/fun. So I know it's there. So check that out. We'll put it on YouTube again.
Well, I know that the gasifiers are on Hostile Hair's YouTube channel.
Okay. So I'll get those posted, for this episode. Check out our Facebook page. And, guys, if you don't comment and like, or at least, throw something in there every once in a while, you lose us you don't see anything anymore.
It'll disappear out of your feed.
Yeah. Facebook is getting bad.
Yeah, they're holding our content hostage.
Yeah, they're getting really bad for pages. So if you're a pages person, and you can go to facebook.com, I believe it's /pages, and you see all the page feed stuff.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, and I could be wrong about the URL. It might be pages or pages feed or something.
If you're at your computer, it's on the left-hand side, it's page feed.
Yeah. So you can see that separately. But if you don't interact with the page, it's gone. And then you don't know when all these wonderful episodes come out.
Exactly.
So just hit the like button every once in a while. Throw some feedback on there. Say you guys suck. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, we don't mind. Insults are good too. They turn funny in a hurry.
That's right.
Because we sound inebriated. All right. On that note, we'll say goodbye for this week. We'll catch you next week.